Do you know who Saddam Hussein was? Well, think again, because his name is synonymous with fear and oppression. For over 2 decades, he held Iraq under his domineering grip, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. Today, we delve into a serious chapter of history, exploring Saddam Hussein's unforgivable punishments against women in Iraq. Or what if this was only a rumor about him? Maybe he's a great politician that of course we all want. Okay, let's find out. In 1979, he seized power and transformed Iraq into a one-party state, silencing any opposition. His grip on the nation tightened, like a ruthless puppet master pulling the strings of fear and oppression. Iraq's women, with their rich history of intellectual and scientific achievement, should have been a beacon of progress and empowerment, but sadly, their potential was overtaken by Saddam Hussein's iron fist. With cold precision, his regime targeted women who dared to challenge his authority. Their voices, once filled with hope, were silenced through the darkest of methods: execution, torture, and imprisonment. Behind the facade of a regime claiming to protect its people lurked a terrifying reality for women. Let us bear witness to the first horrible act: beheadings. Under the excuse of fighting prostitution, Saddam's eldest son, Uday Hussein, and his notorious paramilitary organization, the Fedayeen Saddam, planned an unspeakable terror. They took beheading to a macabre extreme, publicly severing the heads of over 200 innocent women, leaving their families shattered and scarred. The peculiar outcome? Those severed heads cruelly dumped on their families' doorsteps, a haunting reminder of their tragic loss. These hateful acts were carried out without an ounce of justice or fair trial. Many of the victims were not involved in any form of prostitution, but instead were targeted for daring to speak out against the regime's corruption. Take the case of Najat Mohammed Haidar, a courageous gynecologist who dared to shed light on the rot within the healthcare system. Her reward? A merciless beheading, a brutal message meant to silence any voice of dissent. But the horrors inflicted upon women in Iraq didn't stop there. The Iraqi government shamelessly weaponized rape and sexual assault to achieve their evil objectives. They stooped to unimaginable depths, exploiting the bodies and dignity of women as tools of intimidation and control. Don't you want to know what's the excuse behind their acts? The regime employed these heinous acts to extract information and forced confessions from detained family members. They delighted in the sinister art of blackmail, sending videotapes of the rape of female family members to further terrorize Iraqi oppositionists. Can you understand the depths of immorality to which they sank? The second horrible act is torture, a word that sends shivers down our spines. In Saddam's Iraq, it became a horrifying reality for countless women. Opposition and the female relatives of oppositionists and rebels faced the main impact of unimaginable torment. In 1990, Saddam introduced Article 111, a sinister law that stained the Iraqi penal code. Its purpose, you ask? To strengthen tribal support for his regime. However, its consequences were critical for the women of Iraq. Article 111 granted immunity to men who committed the most terrible act imaginable, killing their female relatives in the name of family honor. It was a calculated move to exert control and maintain power. The United Nations Special Reporter on Violence Against Women revealed a chilling truth. Over 4,000 women fell victim to these so-called honor killings under Saddam's rule. Under his reign, such scenes of horror were unfortunately not uncommon. The suffering inflicted upon women reached exceptional levels of cruelty. Acid, a symbol of corrosion and destruction, was used as a weapon against these defenseless souls. They were burned with acid, their flesh forever marked with the scars of unspeakable pain. As if that were not enough, some were bound naked to ceiling fans, their bodies violated, and their dignity stripped away. I can't imagine, how cruel a person can be. Sexual abuse, another heinous crime against humanity, found fertile ground under Saddam Hussein's oppressive rule. Women were subjected to violence, robbed of their agency, and violated in ways that defy comprehension. In a sickening twist, some women were used as guinea pigs for chemical substances, poisoned by a regime that showed no regard for human life. The cruelty is extended beyond them, leaving no family untouched. Women and children were tortured in front of their husbands and fathers, leaving lasting scars on their souls. These acts of sadism were intended to break the spirit of resistance. Now, let us reflect upon the disturbing reasons behind these unforgivable punishments. Many of the victims were simply associated with the forbidden Al-Dawa Party, a group that posed a threat to the Ba'athist government. The women paid a heavy price for their familial connections, as they were executed for the mere crime of being sisters or wives of wanted men. Can you grasp the horror of a single man boasting about hanging 70 female prisoners in just one night? Abu Widad, a sinister figure who was revealed in cruelty, committed such a monstrous act at the notorious Abu Ghraib jail outside Baghdad. This chilling account reveals the depth of sadism that was uncontrollable during Hussein's reign. Let me recount some of these horrifying incidents that are deeply etched in history. In one gut-wrenching incident, Awatif Noor al-Hamadani, a mere 21 years old who found herself caught in a web of treachery and despair. It was her own husband who, under unbearable torture, revealed her name and that of her colleagues as alleged gun runners. The weight of betrayal fell heavily upon Awatif's shoulders as her life took a harrowing turn. Her path crossed with a man named Major Amer, who, driven by sadistic impulses, subjected her to dreadful difficulty. With a metal chair as his weapon, he mercilessly beat Awatif, inflicting unimaginable pain upon her. But the torment didn't end there. He violated her in the most disgusting manner and then sexually abused her. At her trial, Judge Musalam al-Jaburi suggested that a miniature gallows, a hanging platform, should be found for her baby daughter because she had sucked on her mother's hate-filled milk. Seriously? This is highly disturbing. She then was taken to be executed for the first time with 2 female colleagues and forced to watch the hanging of 150 men, 10 at a time, as their corpses were taken away. She recognized one of them as her husband. She was then returned to her cell and was later executed in an electric chair. Next story is from 1982 in Basra. Lieutenant Karim, an agent of Hussein's regime, captured the wife of an insurgent. Determined to extract information, Karim devised a cruel and sadistic plan. He stripped the woman naked and tortured her in front of her husband, hoping to break their spirits. But their resilience shattered his expectations. When both the husband and wife refused to cooperate, he stooped to a new low. In an act of pure malevolence, he seized their innocent infant child. With no regard for human life, he coldly threw the baby against the wall, ending its fragile existence. Don't you think their actions were truly beyond comprehension? Because they were. Now let us turn our attention to Salwa al-Bahrani, a courageous mother who caught in the crosshairs of, in whose regime. It was the year 1980 when Salwa's life took a tragic turn. Accused of distributing weapons to Islamic fighters, she found herself trapped in the clutches of Saddam's merciless machinery. Her suffering did not end with her capture. During interrogation, a doctor named Fahid al-Danouk, known for his experimentation with poisons, subjected her to unimaginable torment. Salwa, a mother trying to protect her small boy, was forced to eat poisoned yogurt, a nasty solution created by this twisted individual. The poison coursed through Salwa's veins, slowly draining the life from her fragile body. She endured 45 agonizing days before falling victim to its lethal effects. Her innocent child left without a mother. I really want to know why someone can't stop these brutal acts. Why can't someone raise their voices for these women? But as a result, women are the only ones who can help themselves and come to the battleground for their own fights. It was March 6, 2003, when a group of courageous Iraqi women who had survived the horrors of Saddam's regime gathered to share their stories with influential figures of the U.S. government. Vice President Dick Cheney, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, Deputy Secretary of Defense Paul Wolfowitz, Undersecretary of State for Global Affairs Paula Dobriansky, and Ambassador-at-Large for a Free Iraq Zalmay Khalilzad listened attentively as these women recounted their traumatic experiences. These women, longing for freedom and peace, expressed their burning desire to participate in the creation of a new Iraq, a democratic society built upon progressive Iraqi traditions and values. They yearn for the restoration of their nation's rightful place in the region and the world. Under Secretary of State for Global Affairs Paula Dobriansky, after meeting these courageous women, voiced her conviction about their indispensable role in rebuilding Iraq. She acknowledged the skills and knowledge they possessed, which would prove vital in restoring Iraq's rightful place in the region and the world. The verdict of Saddam Hussein, which I guess we all want to hear. The so-called former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein was executed on December 30, 2006. He was sentenced to death by hanging after being found guilty of crimes against humanity by the Iraqi Special Tribunal. Do you know of any other historical figures or regimes whose actions can be compared to the horrors inflicted by Saddam Hussein? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you find this video informative, do subscribe as well. Thank you for watching.